The Eastern and Western Conference MLS finals are finally here, and we're going to see who wins both these matches and who is going to play in the MLS Cup final. I can't believe it's finally here. We're going to see who the matchup's going to be. We're going to live stream both of these matches, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to MLS Moves. Please make sure you like this video down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are 230 subscribers away from 5,000. Our goal is to hit that number by MLS Cup Final Day, which is less than 2 weeks away. With your help, I know we will hit that number, especially with the momentum we've been building. I know we're going to reach that goal, so I appreciate all the support. And also make sure you hit the little bell notification so you never miss a video or one of my live streams. Now, moving on to the first matchup, we have the LA Galaxy versus the Seattle Sounders. Now, starting off from the Seattle Sounders perspective, this was a team that struggled in the beginning of the year. They struggled to score goals. They were sound defensively, but they just couldn't find the back of the net, and it made some of the games a little closer than they probably should have, especially with how well defensively this team was playing. Now, going into the LAFC match, nobody outside of Seattle saw them winning because Steve Cherundolo had not lost to Seattle in his LAFC tenure. So most people would assume that if Seattle hasn't beaten LAFC since May of 2021, it probably wasn't going to, the streak wasn't going to end in the playoff game because that's obviously the stakes are higher and LAFC has Seattle's number. But Seattle was able to play a scrappy, very ugly, as in making it not, it wasn't a scoring fest. It was just a very defensively matched game. And they were fortunate to get the Maxime Chanot own goal that tied the game, made it go in extra time, but they found a way to win. Jordan Morris scoring the game-winning goal in extra time. And the way I would describe the Sounders is the Seattle survivors, because they find a way to survive and they beat LAFC and the number one seed in the Western Conference. And they have a lot of their players have been on this team for multiple years. Stephen Fry, Yeimar, Jordan Morris, Raul Ruiz-Diaz, Albert Rusnak's been on this team for 3 years now. Both Roldan brothers, João Paulo. Like, this team, its core has been intact for several years. They beat the big market team that had been in the MLS Cup 2 years in a row, dethroning them from a third MLS Cup appearance in a row. And they did something that is very impressive. And like I said, I'm coining them as the Seattle Survivors, not the lucky team, the Seattle Survivors. And Brian Schmetzer is the captain of the Seattle Survivors. And they get a chance to play the Galaxy. Now, moving on to the Galaxy. The Galaxy are the high-powered scoring team that plays very, very attractive attacking football. You've got Ricky Puig, who has been on arguably their MVP this season. They have a lot of players that you could consider their MVP, but Ricky Puig is the maestro pulling the strings. He has more touches than anyone I've seen in Major League Soccer. It feels like when they have possession of the ball, he's touching it probably 70 to 75% of the time, always connecting to players, picking out passes, connecting, threading the needle. I mean, he really is a maestro. And he's like the key cog in the engine. I can't say enough about how good he has been for the Galaxy. And you see how much better they are now that they have attacking talent around him that's good. And one of those guys is Gabriel Peck. Gabriel Peck is one of the most special players I've ever seen in Major League Soccer because of his dribbling skills, his shot creation, his speed. He has it all. And on the trajectory he's currently on, he's going to be probably the most expensive outgoing player in Major League Soccer history. I will not be surprised if Gabriel Peck is sold for $30 million because he is an incredible player. He will probably likely beat Miguel Almiron's record of highest outgoing transfer, which was in 2019 to Newcastle United, roughly around $27 million. They have him. They've got Joseph Paintel, who is not someone you should forget about either. Very, very good quality player. Scored, I want to say, 12 to 13 goals for LA Galaxy this season and had a couple, like 8 to 9 assists. Very, very formidable winger. And then they had Jovic up top. I mean, this is the best attacking trio in Major League Soccer. And it really is shown with their performance against Minnesota United because they had all three of their front three had a brace. The first time in Major League Soccer history that three players on the same team have had a brace. So their attack is great. They obviously got Puig, like I said. They've got Marco Royce. They were firing all cylinders, beat them 6-2. Now, moving on to the matchup, LA Galaxy versus Seattle. This is a game that's going to be interesting because the Seattle's going to have to score goals. They can't do the same game plan they did against LAFC. Very defensively, make the game ugly, try to get to penalties or in extra time, try to sneak one away. They're going to have to score goals. They're going to have to shut these guys down. And I'm a little concerned because Yamar is apparently in jeopardy of not being able to play for this match. It's not for certain if he will or won't play, but there is concern he won't be able to make it, and that obviously limits their defense. Now, Stefan Fry, I've said this numerous times. Everybody who's watched my videos, this is the playoffs of the veteran goalkeeper. If you look at all the teams that had success in this playoffs, all of them had veteran goalkeepers. Stefan Fry, Brad Guzan, Gillespie, Hugo Lloris. I mean, all these goalkeepers have played a big integral part in keeping these teams in the match. And it just feels like it's the LA Galaxy's year. It feels like they're unbeatable. And even though Seattle should be very proud of how far they made it, especially when a lot of people wrote them off, including myself, it's going to be a tall task. Seattle is going to have to score 3 goals minimum to beat the Galaxy because of how many goals the Galaxy can score. Now, the Galaxy have a very vulnerable defense. There's no denying that. But I think that it's going to be tough for any team to beat them, and especially if it's a goal-scoring contest. Seattle's not going to be able to beat them 1-0 or 2-1. They're going to have to score some goals, and I think they're going to put out an all-out attack formation. They're going to really go for it. Have maybe Robert Diaz start to try, and up top with Morris to try to go for it. I'm predicting the Galaxy win this match 3-1 over the Seattle Sounders, and it's going to be a very, very entertaining game. And the Galaxy are playing at home too, which I have to mention. They haven't lost a game at home this year. They've scored 15 goals in 3 games. They're averaging 5 goals a game. So even if they did only win 3-1, that would still be an impressive performance by the Sounders based on how the Galaxy have played in this playoffs. Now, moving on to the Eastern Conference side. Orlando City is a team that's interesting. They have a couple good pieces. They have Enrique. They have Facundo Farias, Nico Ladero as a veteran. Like I mentioned, Gillespie, who's a good veteran goalkeeper, but they have some concerns. I have some concerns about them being able to score enough goals to beat this Red Bulls team because the Red Bulls have been a very good, surprising team in the playoffs thus far. If you look at Orlando, they scored 2 goals in the first match against Charlotte FC. Charlotte FC is a really good defensive team. They scored, and they didn't score in the second game. They won in PKs. They scored like 1 goal in the third game. It went to PKs again. And then when they played Atlanta United has been a very good defensive team. They upset Miami in the first round, obviously. And they had Guzan, who had been playing out of his mind this playoffs. Enrique was able to find the back of the net one time, but it was kind of a lackluster performance, in my opinion. There wasn't as many chances as you'd like to see. Oscar Pereira is someone that I don't think lives up to the moment in big games, but I don't want to downplay their story because they did beat 2 good defensive teams. They beat Charlotte, who's a very good, the best Eastern Conference defensive team, and Atlanta, who is the best playoff defensive team, in my opinion, because of Guzan. So the fact that you're able to win, probably the biggest win in Oscar Pereira's career, that was impressive. They're going to need a lot from Facundo Torres. Now, moving on to the Red Bulls. The Red Bulls are the dark horse of the MLS Cup playoffs. They're the most successful underdog maybe in playoff history because they swept the Columbus Crew, the reigning MLS Cup champions, which was very impressive. They hadn't beaten them all year. Then they beat New York City FC on the road. They beat New York City FC on the road, a team that they hadn't beaten 2 times this year. They didn't beat them at all this year. But in the biggest match of the season, in the Hudson River Derby, they were able to beat them 2-0. 2-0. And Emil Forsberg has really changed his team along with Sandro Schwartz and Dante Vanzier. And, Coronel has been a great goalkeeper for them, at least in the playoffs more specifically. Lewis Morgan's been very good. This team they're playing great ball right now as a team. They're hot at the right moment. Now, leading up to this game, Orlando City and New York Red Bulls. The Red Bulls haven't conceded more than 2 goals in 3 matches. Now, Orlando City has only conceded 1 goal in 4 matches. They've only conceded 1 goal. Very impressive. But with the way the Red Bulls are playing right now, they're just playing as a complete team. Beating the Crew was the first indicator for me, like sweeping them, that this team is for real. Now, I do have concerns about the Red Bulls if they're missing a piece or two, and they were tried to sign a couple players this summer. They were active. They wanted one more key big name player to pair with Emil Forsberg. There was the rumors about Timo Werner if he was going to come here, but he obviously didn't. I feel like they might still be a piece away, but Orlando City is a young South American built team with a lot of attacking talent, and it's going to be an interesting matchup. Now, the keys for me on this game is Facundo Torres is going to have to play he's going to have to play a great game. He's going to have to play a great game. He's going to have to probably get on the score sheet to win this game. Red Bulls are going to have Emil Forsberg play well. Dante Vanzier is going to have to play well. And they're going to have a good defensive showing by Cornell. Now, Felipe Carballo had a great goal against the New York City FC, an absolute screamer. If you didn't see that goal, is beautiful. One of the best goals, and probably the best goal in the playoffs thus far. I think that the Red Bulls are just playing the best as a team outside the Galaxy in the entire playoffs, and it just feels like they're on that special run. So I think that the New York Red Bulls are going to win this match against Orlando City, and it's going to be 2-1. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a very close game. It's going to be an exciting game, and the Red Bulls will go to their first MLS Cup, and I think it's been a long time, 15, I think, years, maybe longer, 20 years. And I think that they're going to beat Orlando City, and it's going to be 2-1. And the Galaxy and the New York Red Bulls will play in the MLS Cup final for the first time against each other to see who wins. The Galaxy winning their first championship in 10 years and their 6th championship overall, or the New York Red Bulls winning their first championship in club history. It's going to be exciting to see. Let me know what your predictions are down below. Who do you have winning these 2 matchups? Why and who will be playing in your MLS Cup final? But before I let you go, if you enjoy this video, make sure you like it down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like I said, we're trying to hit 5K by MLS Cup final day. Appreciate the support. Also, hit the little bell notification so you never miss a video. And until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.